Hi guys. Welcome to Bath Fizz and Foam. My name is Robyn French Smith. It's Friday. I'm running a little bit behind and I'll explain why in just a minute. But it's Friday, so it's time for a face-to-face Friday where my face and your face, they come together, we smush them together on a Friday. Last week in my I don't own it. Who can own a tree? In the Bath Fizz and Foam Facebook help group, I made the best ever body butter cream lotion. And today I'm gonna make the lotion that goes in the pump bottles, or like the Boston bottles with the little disc cap. Okay, so I'm just gonna make like the second half of that recipe, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started by putting my oils in the water. I'm gonna pop them in the microwave and melt them so that we can speed this process along, because it's gonna take a while. So like, if you have to leave early, I understand. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, I also understand that. Okay. God. Right. Okay. So while that starts to heat up and melt, let's talk. I did an oopsie. Okay. The lotion bar recipe, the emulsified body butter and lotion recipe, has an error in it. In the this recipe, the one that's like the pumping one, the one that goes in the jars is fine. But this morning when I was prepping for this live, I was like, wait a second, those numbers don't look right. Like, this recipe just doesn't feel right. It's been a long time since I had made that one, but I was like, wait a second. So I went back and checked, and I like spent about 30 minutes like tearing my hair out, like double checking, digging through like really old notebooks to like find my handwritten notes from like 5 years ago to figure it out. And yeah, so that recipe has an error. So if you purchase that recipe, don't worry, within the next 48 hours, Amanda's fixing it right now. So it's part of the reason why I was late is like, I called Amanda. Like, we text each other all the time, and we use Voxer, which is like you send like voicemails, like walkie-talkie to each other. So like, we talk all the time. I have probably only called her like 3 times ever. And so I called her and she was like, hello. Come on, internet, I'm trying to make an apology here. Good God. Anyway, we're back. Anyway, so I called Amanda. I was like, hey, I'm the worst person on the planet. I did a bad thing. I messed up. I made an error. And she was like, it's cool. It's fine. So the lotion recipe is on hold right now. And then when we're working on it to fix it, and we'll send out an email to you. So if you purchased it already, just keep an eye on your email, because we're gonna fix it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay. Let's give those like another minute to finish melting. So yeah, I apologize to everyone. Fortunately, the recipe is brand new, and honestly, like, I'm really glad that because I was like, oh, am I gonna do the jarred body butter on Monday and then do the bottle recipe on Friday? Like, is that boring? I know it takes a long time. We basically sit here watching paint dry together. So I was like, that's kind of boring. Like, are we gonna actually do that? And so I'm glad that I decided to do that, just because otherwise it would have taken somebody emailing me and being like, is this recipe right? You know, because I think the thing with it is it's not going to be thin enough to pump is the major thing. Like, I don't think it's like, I don't know. It's like an old, I did it. I can't believe it. That thing happened to me. Okay. Nope, she's still not ready yet. Just gonna sit here and enjoy my sauna. So if this is your first time, if you've never made lotion or body butter before, this is an emulsified body butter, which means that it has oils and water in it, and then we use an emulsifying agent to combine the oils and water so that they don't separate, and so that the oil can absorb quickly into your skin, the water absorbs quickly into your skin. And what else can I tell you about it? It's sanitation is important. On the video that I did Friday, I just like ended up giving up on keeping it, like, it's hard during a live for me to keep everything like sterile and sanitized. But sanitation is really important when you're honestly, that's the longest part. So some people have said, like, I'm kind of nervous about lotions, like, I know that they're more complex. I would say the most complicated part, to me the most difficult part, is the prep. So like making sure everything's clean. That would be the thing that I struggle with, is like making sure everything's sanitized. So you can use, for like my instruments, this thing, the outside of the pots, my scale, all that, I use a 1 to 10 ratio of bleach to water to sterilize and sanitize all that stuff. For my equipment that I'm going to be like putting into the lotion, I use 70% rubbing alcohol, and you want to like spray it and let it dry. Don't use 90% because it dries too quickly, so use 70%. Pauline says, can you message me please, as loads of people PM for recipes? Need your and Amanda's advice, please. If it's your recipe and you want to give it to somebody, you can do that. If it's our recipe and you're like, just tell them to stop. One of our rules in our group is that you can't just be like messaging at people. So if that's happening, you can just report them. You can just report them and say like, these people are messaging you. I mean, I know it's like kind of rude, but like we can send them a warning and be like, please don't solicit members. Like, even if it's your recipe and like you don't want people to be like doing that, like that's all you have to say. It's like, I don't like that. Don't do that. And we will nip that in the bud for you, because boundaries exist for a reason. Oh, our recipes? Yeah, just be like, sorry, I had to pay for a recipe. Can't do that. I mean, I think people understand that, like, we do, you know, there are free recipes out there that people can get. If they want a free recipe, like, they can go get a free recipe. I used free recipes to create my recipes that I have now, but that also involved, like, loads of notebooks. Oh, that one's mostly empty. I'm like, look at all these notes I've taken. Getting these recipes just right for you, all 3 pages. No, but it is like loads of notebooks that I've used to nail that down, so. Both are valid. Okay, we're gonna do something called the quick and clever method, and that's where we take the oil. Like, a lot of recipes will tell you to get your oil, heat it up, get your water, heat it up, put them in a double boiler separately, cover them, do all this other stuff, which is like, yeah, you could probably cover them because it's gonna save you having to add water later. But I'm just not gonna do that. So what I'm gonna do is you're just gonna go like this. Okay, you're gonna be really loud, aren't you? I just might not do that. Okay, so I'm gonna add my oil straight into my water, and I'm gonna put them on the, I'm gonna weigh it. Almost forgot to do this last time. And I'm gonna write down the weight before the cook. Not to sound like Breaking Bad or anything, but Okay, so this is the weight before they cook. 1667 in the year of our Lord. Pretty sure we were doing medieval shit back then, so probably not a great year to be alive. Is that like Black Plague years or something? Yeah. Anyway, and now we're gonna get it up to. We're gonna get our whole thing. Okay, it's already there temp wise. We want it to be above 158. I say 160 because that's easier to remember. Degrees Fahrenheit, or I believe they said 71 degrees Celsius on Monday's live. So we're gonna get it above that, and we're just gonna hold it there for 20 minutes. I know. You're gonna have to sit here with me for 20 minutes. You don't have to. But I mean, that's like, I had somebody ask like, will you make lotions live? And I was like, I mean, I can, but you're gonna just be watching paint dry, essentially. So, yeah. Anyway. Okay, so Pauline says you told them that they weren't yours and sent them back to bedside. That's the best you can do, and thank you, and I appreciate that for, you know, having our back and all that stuff. I think I have too much water in this. I did that last time too. I might just be a janitor the whole time and like be cleaning up dribbles. Yeah, that's, but you know, if somebody keeps messaging you, that is definitely like not, so one of our group roles is like no soliciting, and that includes like a solicitor is somebody who comes to your door and knocks on your door and is like, excuse me, has anybody told you about the magical power of these crystals that you need, or whatever, you know, like your extended car warranty or whatever it is, right? So that's soliciting. It's a no-go. So just letting you know. I'm gonna write down the time that I didn't bring my cute little timer in here today. So we're gonna have to do it by paying attention. Josephine says, hi, how was your holiday? My holiday was great. We went close. So we live like 30 minutes from the beach. So we rented a beach house. I do have to say though, I've stayed at tons of Airbnbs. Like I've stayed at Airbnbs in Chicago and Puerto Rico and Florida and all over Texas and a bunch. I'm trying to think of like other places I've specifically stayed at Airbnbs. I've stayed at a bunch of Airbnbs. This one was the worst. It was the worst. Not as far as like the house. Like the house had like, I wouldn't want to, it was an older house. So like, I pretty much expect a beach house to be like, okay, these are my expectations from a beach house. I'm just gonna pull some of her water off real quick. She's just sloppy. My expectations for a beach house is for it to be like a house that is like comfy enough to relax in, but also like not so clean that I feel bad when I'm like coming in dirty from like being out at the beach, or like we bring our dogs whenever we go on vacation, so like I don't have to feel bad if my dog, like, because my little dog, like her favorite thing to do when she gets to a new house is like to immediately go and poop on the floor. Like she just finds like the center of the house, like the most central area, and she goes and poops right there. And like she doesn't poop in her house like any of the time, but it's like whenever, if I take her to the dog sitter, she goes to the dog sitter. As soon as she gets in there, she's like takes a crap. Like, and they're like, oh, it's stress. I'm like, is it though? Is it stress? Because I think that she's doing it to tell, she like will look at you while she's like turned, and she like makes eye contact while she's doing it, and she's like, clean it up. Now clean it up. Just clean it up. What did I say? I said clean it up. So she's like, so anyway, when I say at a beach house, I just want it to be like low key. You know, I don't expect it to be amazing, but I also don't expect it to be, anyway, these people, like, I think the first day we were there, my older son and my younger son and I walked to the beach. It was evening. We just like wanted to take the dogs for like a nighttime walk on the beach, and my husband and older son went to the grocery store to get like sodas and I don't know, frozen pizzas and stuff like that. So my younger son and I walk back, and we get to the house and we cannot get in. Like, we cannot get in the door. It's like a code. It's like one of those code ones. And like, it is not working. We are like pushing on the door. We cannot get in the door. It's not working. And so my husband gets home. He like messages them. They don't respond. He calls them. They don't respond. And like finally after like 30 minutes, we were able to like pry the door open and get in. And they had the nerve to like at that point, if you don't answer that and you know that people are locked out of your house, like just don't say anything. Just pretend like you never got that message at all, okay? Because they sent us a message at 6 a.m. and they were like, hey, hope you got in. And I was like, that's how we're going to play it. You're going to send me a message at 6 a.m. and say, I hope you got in? That is disrespectful. And then they scheduled an air quality check while we were there. I was like, if there's mold in the house, I don't want to know. They scheduled a plumber to come in while we were there. And there was like a third thing. They had an inspection. They had like a house inspection come in while we were there. So 3 different times. And I was just like, what is happening? Why is the house now like a part of our vacation? It's like a character in our vacation. Anyway, I tried not to complain too much because I'm just grateful to be able to go on vacation. But it was like, and they're like, hey, this is the last thing about it, and then I'll shut up about it. But they were like, hey, just letting you know, we're sorry that there's all these problems. We did go ahead and cancel like all the reservations after you leave. So like, just letting you know, like, we know there's a problem and like we've canceled things. And I'm like, then cancel your inspection. We are only here for 2 more days. If you've canceled all your other reservations, then cancel any of your further inspections that are gonna be during our vacation. Because, like, I only get 1 or 2 vacations a year. So, I don't want you to be part of it. No offense. Anyway. Haha. Lena says, hi. I once did a live and didn't press play properly. I have tested some bath bombs where it was like, I only had 2 or 3 of them because I made like a really small batch. And, like, I go to put it in the water and I don't press play. I just like zone out for a minute and I'm like, nope. And then I sit there and hold my phone over the bath bomb as it fizzles out in the water for like 5-10 minutes, however long it is, and I don't press play or record or whatever it is. I've done that, something very similar. Anyway, I feel that so deeply in my soul. Becca says, why do you not put an aluminum foil tint over the boil to reduce water loss? Sorry if it's been asked before, just because I'm lazy. Like, you can do that if you want to. I'm just lazy. If I had a true double boiler, I would do that, but I don't. So, yeah, you could do that. It's probably easier if you do that. Otherwise, you have to do like this, where I'm like holding this water on the side here, which I'm not actually doing because it's alive and he's making these like little popping noises in his little thing, and it's like really annoying. And then you replace the evaporated water. So that's like your other option that you can do. Cindy says they should have given you money back. They did give us like part of the money back for it, like, which I appreciated, but it was still like actually, they told us that we should have just gone through Airbnb and canceled it through Airbnb, which I think they wanted us to do that so we wouldn't leave a review, or we couldn't leave a review. And I was like, I'm leaving a review. Because up until that point, the only thing that irritated me was that there were no beach towels. Like, it was an older house. There were like some cracked tiles in the floor, and like, you know, it was a little bit kind of a, it's probably like an 80-year-old house. Galveston is like an old town, so there's like old stuff there, and like I'm cool with that. It was a little bit like creaky and cracky, and like that's fine. I lived in like a really old house for like years, so that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. But the beach towels did kind of bother me, because I'm like, you should have beach towels at your beach house. But that was like my biggest complaint, which is not that big. I still would have given them like 5 stars and just been like, psst, you should have beach towels, right? Because I don't want to go and spend $40 as soon as they get there to get beach towels, which we did. Which would have been fine. It would, if that was it, that would have been fine. Yeah, it was great. Oh, the other thing, guys, why is it ever, like, you guys have heard my Airbnb when I was in Florida. If you haven't, when I was in Florida with Airbnb with Amanda for holiday boot camp, this giant roach is like this big. This giant roach comes crawling out, he's hissing at me and like, like attacked me, chased me around the house. I was screaming. Anyway, basically that's what happened. I might be like exaggerating a little bit, but that's basically what happened. I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed, and there's a big old roach, big old roach. There's like credenza where all of our stuff is. My brush is there, my hair ties, my face thingies, deodorant. It's all on this long, really cool old Chinese looking credenza thing. Very cool, very cool. Big old mofo right there. So then I just like start screaming. And my husband like comes in. He comes in from like the next room with like a shoe already raised. Like he already knows. And then like after that, I couldn't sleep though at night. I mean, I already have problems sleeping, but I just like, there was curtains behind us, and I could just imagine him being on the curtain and my head being right here. This is what my brain was telling me. This is what's gonna happen, Robyn. You'd be right here, you'd be sleeping. He's gonna fall off on your head. He's gonna get in your hair. You're gonna scream, you're gonna jump up, you're gonna run away, you're gonna be naked and run out inside, and then you're gonna get locked out, and then they're gonna text you at 6 a.m. and say, I hope you got in. Some kind of like disaster like that was gonna happen, I was pretty sure. It didn't happen again, but anyway. I don't hold that against them though, because those are just big tree roaches, and they're just everywhere here in the South. You just can't escape them, they're everywhere. We have more comments back here. Let me see. This is great. Any ghosts? No, not this time. Maybe, but no. I do like ghosts though. I wish a ghost would have come visit me, but they didn't. That's okay though. It might have happened, except that, you know, I was just like not being mindful or meditating or, you know, doing any of those things. I was like more like, why is this happening? Anyway, what else do we have? Some more questions. So that was my holiday. It was great. Okay, so also I think I'm trying. So when I started this live, it asked if I wanted to share it to a group. So I think, let me know if you're watching this from Bath Fizz and Foam business page, or if you're watching it from the Bath Fizz and Foam Facebook support group, because that would be really badass if it's able to simultaneously do 2 broadcasts. Because, you know, you probably don't know, because you're face-to-face Friday people. But Monday, I was talking to the Make With Me Monday people about the plan for the future, and that's going to be like behind the scenes, fun things like that, and mini, like micro, let's not even call them mini, micro boot camps, which would be like one project, really cool project, start to finish, the entire thing. Some of it will be pre-recorded, so like if we use embeds, I will pre-record blooming the dye. I will pre-record making the embeds. I will pre-record doing any special sprinkles and all that stuff. That would be loaded up onto YouTube into like a little private section that if you're one of our Patreon supporters, you would have access to, and nobody else would have access to that. And then when we did the actual project, putting it all together, that one would be live. And so what's cool about that is you would have the opportunity, you would have like 2 weeks of time where you would have the opportunity to make the stuff that I'm making and be ready to do the live with me, because a lot of people have said that like you wish that you could do the project with me while I'm doing it. So that's what we're going to be launching next, and I'm very, very excited about it. Fingers crossed for September 1st-ish. But one of the things with that is that I'm gonna have to find like some time to like pull from, and I've been hesitant to cut out the face-to-face Friday because I have people who like followed me from my previous business who aren't in the support group but still want to watch me do lives every now and then because they're like amazing. And so doing it on the business page allows people to, is because it's public, right? It's not part of the private group. So I have kind of just been like debating over that, like where do I pull the time from? But if Facebook starts to let me simultaneously broadcast like that, that would solve that problem for me, and we would go down to either a face-to-face Friday or a Make With Me Monday that would be broadcast in both groups at the same time. So just let me know. So I'm hoping that that's working, because that would be awesome. Okay, Nadia says the group and Kelly says the business page. Oh my god, did Facebook do something good? Yeah, and Julie says that they love the lives, and that's the thing, like I don't want to cut out the lives. Like I love the lives too. They keep me on track. They like make me stay like grounded. Because otherwise I would just be like off wandering off in like Robyn's playland, where like I live with all my thoughts and ideas pretty far from reality sometimes. So they keep me grounded, they like keep me on task and stuff like that. So I really love the lives too, plus I get to like hang out with you guys. So I love that. I love the lives too. Oh, Nadia says that they're doubting themselves. Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Because, you know, I've tried before where I recorded a live and then I tried to share it into another group, and it's like a little bit more hard. I could do that though. I don't know. But yeah. And you guys can let me know, like, which is easier for you. Is a Friday easier or is a Monday easier? Both have cute names. Make with me Monday. Make with me Monday. Lads. Me lads, make with me Mondays. Or face-to-face Fridays. Whichever one, you know, let me know which one you prefer. So yeah. And if you're just logging in, then I will repeat what I said at the beginning about the lotion recipe. I was prepping for the live today and noticed that the numbers, I was like, wait, the numbers don't feel right. They don't look right to me. The percentages were a little bit weird, because like when I'm formulating, I do two ways. I do by feel. It just feels right. I feel like I need, like, you know, like a tish more oil, right? But I keep track of it. Or I just do like, hey, I think that if I do 10% this, 5% that, 3% this, that should work. So those are the two types of recipes. So when I was looking at the lotion in a bottle, I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. When I was looking at the lotion in a bottle recipe, I was like, wait, those numbers are like testing numbers. Why are those testing numbers and not like final numbers? And so then I started looking at the recipe more, and I was like, oh no, this is not the right recipe. So the lotion in a jar, the cream body butter that I did Monday in the group, that's fine. That's correct. The one that is in this, a pump bottle, boop, or that little dollop is so cute, or a Boston round disc bottle, whatever those are called, that one is not correct. We are aware of it, obviously. I called Amanda. She's awesome. She was like so calm about it. She was like, it's okay, mistakes happen, we'll fix it. I was like, no, you don't understand. Everything's wrong with the world. And she was like, no, it's fine. And I was like, anyway, so we're gonna get that fixed within the next 48 hours, so keep an eye on your email. Amanda is looking at it as we speak and getting that sorted and worked out for us. So I apologize. That is completely my fault. I just, you know what I did is I like looked through my old files and I was like, yes, this looks right. And this is like totally my fault, and I should have not done this, but instead of like, so usually like when I have like this and I have it as the recipe, like how Flip's just opened it, and it has the recipe, I will one last time when it's written on here before it goes to you, make it and double check it. And I did not, I apologize, I did not do that for these in the same way that I normally do it. And so that's why that happened, and it's like totally my fault, and I really apologize. But we're gonna get fixed and it'll be fine. And if you ordered like ingredients for it, it's fine. You probably, if you order the ingredients for the body butter recipe, then you have all the ingredients you need. There's like no extra ingredients that are in this one. And in fact, there's like a few less ingredients. So you're fine. You didn't like, you know, the only thing is that like, I really hate the idea that people might have wasted ingredients. Like that's gonna keep me up at night for probably the next rest of my life. So, because I grew up, I went to private Christian school, so guilt is like in my DNA now, okay, so. Becca says, so the recipe incorrect? Yes, yes and no. So this one second, un momento, hold on, put that back. Jar recipe, good, fine. This was fine. This one's perfect. That's part of why I was late starting the live, is because I spent a bunch of time like going over. I was like, oh my god, I have to make sure this is like absolutely correct. So jar recipe, yes, fine, correct, perfect. Bottle, this type, that recipe is incorrect. But we're fixing it. We're gonna get it sent out right away. The recipe itself is actually on hold. Like you can't order it right now from our website. And then Amanda and Megan they're gonna figure out how to fix it. I don't know how they're gonna fix it, but they're gonna figure out how to fix it. So don't worry if you bought it. I apologize, but we're gonna have the fix out right away for you. How much does the single batch make for the butters in the jar? So Monday I made a half batch, and it made 8.3 ounces. Filled this jar, and then I had some left over. So I'd probably say like maybe 9 ounces, something like that. So maybe total like 18 ounces. I'd have to, it's been a while, but I didn't ever, oh my god, I'm so southern right there, sorry. I usually did 2 ounce jars, and I would fill them to like 2.5 ounces, I believe, or 2.3 ounces, something like that. And then I would do 4 ounce jars. So I didn't ever do like the 8 ounce jars. It's just a lot, and your customers, it's going to take them a long time to use this, because a little goes a long way. And so as far as like turnaround, for me, is better off if I would do the 2 ounces and then the 4 ounces. But that's like, it's up to you. And then obviously you can always tweak the recipe. So like if you need it to make 5 2-ounce jars, then that's why the percentages are there. So you could say like 5 2-ounce jars would be 10 ounces plus a 1% overage, just in case for like spillage and stuff like that. I mean, you'd have to figure out how much actually fits in your jar, because just because it's an 8-ounce jar, usually more goes in it. But like, right, so you say, okay, like, just pretending though that it would just be 20 ounces, like you need 5 2-ounce jars, so you need 22 ounces total that you would need to make, and then you could put that in and use the percentages to get like your actual numbers that you would need. So you could always do that if you wanna. Oh, somebody said, okay, Baptism Foam is broadcasting in the support group as well. Thank you, Kaylin. You're watching both, but not always live. Oh, because there's a time difference. Yeah, I feel that. I was also thinking for the Patreon, what would be fun would be to do like some midnight making. You're gonna get me in a totally different mood when it is, because it would be midnight for me, but like, because it's an international group, so I know that there would be people who would be able to like not be up at 3 a.m. to watch. Like they could be like watching live like in the morning while they're eating their brekkie, for my Australian friends. So yeah, I thought about that. I thought that might be kind of fun to do like some midnight making. And then the other thing for the Patreon, and I mentioned this in the group last week, but Patreon will let me have multiple tiers, but it will let me, above a certain price point, it will let me choose like stuff that you could get, like shirts, stickers, mugs, posters. I don't know if people would want posters. So yeah, if there's like anything in particular, I know shirts are probably something people would really want, but that's obviously going to be like a more expensive. The stickers are like, so like for cost, like how much it costs us is, I think like the shirts cost us like $17, and then the stickers are like $5. So we have to have, the price point has to be above that through Patreon, because they're like, you got to cover your end, girl. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. So yeah. You know, I mean, stickers, that would make it, if we did stickers, I would make that like a cheaper tier. But if you guys want shirts and stuff like that, it would obviously make it a little bit more expensive, and we can mix and match. We could do like shirts and stickers and whatever. I'm kind of excited about that. The first, and then I was thinking, I need to figure out how this works with Patreon. Like, would I have to renew it every year, or like, would you get the same stickers all the way through? Because I was like, what would be cute would be like, if I did the first project, and then I don't want to say what it is. I don't want to say what it is yet. If I did like a cute sticker for the first project, or a cute shirt for the first project, so it'd be like a themed shirt. Thinking out loud. I'm just trying to think of like what I would want. So, okay. So wait. Tumblers. Tumblers are cute. I don't think they have tumblers though. I don't think they have tumblers. I'll just have to see. But yeah, and then that's the other thing that's cool, is it does ship internationally. Cause I worked at a screen printing shop for a while. I loved it. I made t-shirts. So like, I really like t-shirt design. Graphic design is like my educated background is in graphic design. So yeah, so that's fun for me to do. But it's also like dependent on whether or not it's fun for you guys, if that makes sense. Okay, we're almost there. You guys are so awesome for hanging in this whole time. I can't believe it. Okay, we started this at 1:39. I checked the temp. It was already at temp at 1:39. So 20 minutes. We are almost there. Now, normally I would not, like the fact that I'm like, so somebody mentioned, somebody mentioned that I added my Germall at the wrong temp on the Bake With Me Monday, and I've been meaning to comment to them. Yes, you're correct. I did add it at the wrong temp. So that's something that sometimes happens during lives, is like I get distracted. But You're absolutely correct. I did add it at the wrong temp. It should be, the temperature should be like 100, under 120. I usually add it at like 110 because preservatives are heat sensitive. So that's correct. I did add that at the wrong temperature, but at the same time, I was like, I had already kind of given up on like the thing being sanitary, because like I had touched so many things. Like I had the wrong stick blender. I had the wrong one pulled, dang it. The pot, like I pulled the pot over, like I touched a bunch of things. So, you know, I was like, all right, it's pretty much not, like, I'm just gonna, this is the one we made. I'm just gonna keep it for myself. I was like, oh, I'm gonna send it to our assistant Megan, which I'm like, no, I'm gonna send her a clean one that I made when I wasn't doing a live, where I was like distractulated and stuff. But it's been good. It's been at temp the whole time. It can be above. Somebody commented that they have problems keeping it like right there at temp. It doesn't have to be like right there. It can be above. It just has to be at least 160 for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. So yeah, okay, 209. We're there, baby. 209 forever in my heart. Okay. Turn this off. Turn this girl off. Turn this girl off. Be brave. Might want to, you know, do this, because when I put it on this metal scale, sometimes it can slide. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to weigh it. I'm going to see how much weight it lost. So Becca commented, like, why not work harder, not smarter, basically, and just put a lid on it with like foil. You can do that too. What I've noticed is that I still end up having to add, wait, hold on, I need a calculator now. I was like, dang it, why did I push tear? Oh wait, I can just say, look at that. I've noticed that even if I put foil over it, I still end up having to add a little bit of water, and then I've dealt with the foil, which is like, it annoys me for some reason, because it's like just kind of there and in the way and obnoxious, and so that's just that's my hot take, whether it's right or not. But there's actually lots of different ways. I mentioned that in the book Smart Lotion Making by Ann Watson, I believe it's Ann Watson, she talks about just taking the whole thing and putting it in a pot and putting the whole thing into your oven. So that's another way that you can do it, because you could just set your oven to the correct temperature. So you can set your oven to 160 and then just do it like that. So that's another way you could do it. I used to do that when I made big batches, but I don't do that for these smaller batches. Just because, number one, I don't want to have to go into my kitchen. If I go into my house, then I'm reminded of all the things I'm not doing. you know what I'm saying? You know that feeling where it's like, that's why, like, if you need to write or if you need to create, whatever, like, a lot of times it's just easier just to go to like Starbucks or a coffee shop or literally any place that's not your house and work there. Because if you're in your house, like, you see all the things that you need to do that you're not doing. So, anyway. Okay. So I'm going to stir this little baby. And we're going to wait for the temp to drop a little bit before we add fragrance. And before we add, I have some vitamin E oil that I want to add. And preservative. So we're going to wait for the temp to drop just a little bit, but I am going to that's the best part. That's where the money is. Bing. Sometimes it will, you know, if like, it shouldn't separate too much, but sometimes it might separate, especially with this one because it's like a little bit looser. So if it separates, just wait. Once the temperature comes down, it'll quit separating. But yeah, it's pretty much it. So easy. Then you have bottles. You can put this one in jars too if you want to. It's just like the whole reason for this one is that I had some customers who really loved the body butter recipe but wanted to be able to use this type of thing, which I don't know. I'm not into it, but whatever. So it does have to be like a little bit thinner just to be able to do that. So that's where this recipe came along. It's not my personal go-to, and that's because I live in the South. I just don't like thinner lotions like that, but it still does absorb really quickly into the skin. You know, it's still nice. And then obviously you can always tweak this. You can, if I have like, if you don't like want to use avocado oil, or if you don't want to use argan oil, you don't have to. No, like if that's like outside of your price range or whatever, girl, don't do that then. Just use what you got. You know what I'm saying? You can definitely overthink something like this. It's gonna feel good no matter what. So I just really like those Luxe oils. Plus, like, I have them, so I might as well use them. Kind of one of those things. Kyla says, you've been working home for 4 years, you understand. It is so hard. My mom worked from home when I was a kid, and I mean, she still does work from home, but like, she worked from home like way back in the day, even before like working from home was like really a thing, especially since 2020. We're all like, yeah, I work from home. But like, she used to work from home like way back in the day, and after 2020, I was like, I'm sorry. I never understood, and I'm sorry. I never could comprehend like how it is to have just people always having access to you and just being like, where are my socks? Where's my lunchbox? And for me, it's my kids are like big enough to make themselves food, but they will still ask me to make them lunch. And of course, if they ask me to make them lunch, I'm gonna make them lunch. Like, they asked me. I'm gonna do it. They're my children. They're the only children I'm gonna have other than my dogs. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna take care of them. Anyway, that's all. That's all I have to say about that. So temp wise, and you want to keep stirring it because sometimes like the temperature above will like feel cooler, but it will be still warm in the middle. And then that's the other thing about stick blending it, is it's helping to like, you know, just make it kind of uniform. When it gets down a little bit further, actually, you know what I'll do is while that does, I'm gonna add my fragrance oil. Not add it, but I'm going to, hold on. I'm going to grab this scale. So with the body butter, I add the fragrance oil. I make like a little divot in the body butter. It's really nice and thick. That's easy to do. And then I add my mica that I'm going to color the recipe with. I add that into my fragrance oil puddle that I created. For this one, hold on. This should be sterile. So, hold on. Where's my? Well, I'm gonna clean it because I don't want to be a bad example. Those are the pros and cons. Still think it's the best option for you. Oh, I like totally agree. For me, it was like always the best option for my kids because my older son lived in San Antonio or Austin, and then like I would have to drive, and then plus it was just like, I don't know, it's really hard to ask for like weekends off, or some places be like, sure, you can get weekends off, but that means you have to work this time or that time, and it's like, you know, I want to be able to just like drop everything and go be where my kids need me. Plus my my younger son, he's cool now, but when he was younger, like we had to do a few therapies and stuff like that with him on a pretty regular basis. So then it's like you have to ask for those days off. You know, it's just like, it's hard. It's hard being a mom. Plus I think like mom guilt kicks in way big. Way big. Like, just, I don't know. Just for me. For sure it did for me. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my fragrance oil into here. And then I'm going to add my mica into it, so that those two are already blended in. So that's one way you can do it. The fragrance I chose was Fresh Fruit Slices. Love it. It's one of my favorites. I'm sure you've heard me talking about it if you've been watching me for any length of time. I have talked about Fresh Fruit Slices. I love that mica fragrance, whatever. And then the mica I chose was Amana Garfield from Muddy Soap Co. You know what's really funny though is to see like older perspectives on lotions. So when I first wanted to color lotions, I couldn't find like as many sources for like how to like correctly color lotions, and a lot of times like they just like wouldn't they would just like skip over that. So I use micas. I don't know if you use something else, let me know. Tell me, girl, what you do, what you doing, what are you using? Oh, okay, wait, I saw somebody ask a question. I meant to respond. Okay, will I be able to buy that's, so Kelly asked, will I be able to buy the right one next week? So the right recipe. Thank you for asking that. Yes, we should have it fixed within the next, we're gonna say 48 hours to be safe. Just be like on the safe side. What we have to see is if when we update the PDF, does it update automatically for people who have already purchased it, or will they have to like go into their email? Will we have to create it as a new product and have like just send it to them? Like, we're gonna have to see like how that works. So that's like what Amanda and Megan are looking at right now. They do all that stuff. That's not my that's not my domain at all. You don't want me, you don't want that to be my domain, to be like perfectly honest with you. Like, I'm not a technically gifted person. That's not where God blessed me. I was trying to think, like, when I was a kid, my grandpa used to say, like, or it was my uncle, he would say, like, when God was handing out noses, you thought he said roses, so you said, give me a nice big red one. So I was trying to think if there's like one for tech prowess, but I couldn't think of one. Some terrible like dad joke, but there's one there somewhere buried. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add my fragrance. I don't know why I put it on the scale. I don't need it to be on the scale. I'm gonna add my fragrance. I'm gonna add my vitamin E oil. And I'm gonna let it drop just like a tiny bit more before I add the Optifin. It says that it's safe below 120, but I've always added it at 110, so I'm not really sure why I do that, but that's just, you know, we all got our habits, okay? So you do need a preservative. You have to have a preservative. You can't skip out on a preservative. You can't keep it in the fridge. Somebody was like really sad and they were like, I made a bunch of it and I don't have my preservative. Can I just keep it? And I was like, no. They were like, what if I tell people to like throw it away after a certain point? I mean, I would still say no to that. You just don't know how long people are going to keep things. I have like, people will be like, I love this Rudolph bath bomb. And I'm like, Rudolph bath bomb? I don't think I made Rudolph's last year. When is that Rudolph bath bomb from? And they're like, oh, it's like 2 years ago. And I'm like, please don't do that. Use that, okay? So you don't know how long people are going to keep things. So yeah, I just, you know, you need a preservative. There's water. Water and bacteria are like Romeo and Juliet. They just want to be together, even though it's going to really mess up everybody's day who's around them, okay? So there's water, then you have food for the bacteria to eat because you have oil. So you don't want to take that chance. That's why we try to keep things as sterile as possible when it comes to like making sure everything's sanitized. You just want to play it safe. Vitamin E oil is not a substitute for a preservative. I don't care what that mommy blog says. It's not a substitute for a preservative. Rosemary olefin, not a substitute for a preservative. You have to use a preservative, and I suggest a broadband preservative, which is why I use Liquid Germall Plus. But you know, use what you feel is right, and then use it in the correct way, at the correct temperatures, and the correct dosage usage. Go there. I said my two. Like literally, when we were that preservatives has been like the biggest reason where I was like, I don't know if I want to sell this recipe because I don't want to deal with having to teach people about preservatives. Like that makes me nervous because it makes me nervous because we get questions sometimes about bath bombs that are like really like you would think like, okay, this should be like a given, but then we'll still get questions about them that like and I'm trying to think. I'm like, I definitely don't judge people for like any of those questions. I'd rather you ask a question than like not ask and not know. Like I'd rather you just ask. But sometimes it's like, well, I mean, come on, you can't, you know, why does my bath bomb, I mean, I want to store my bath bombs outside. I want to store them outside. I want to store them in my garage unwrapped and I don't have any insulation in there, and I have an open window, and they keep reacting when it rains. And I'm like, oh, I mean, I'm like, I understand, like maybe I always try to take the idea that like maybe that's like the only place that they have to store them. So because I've lived in like tight quarters before, so like I try not to like judge, but at the same time, like, but you can't, I don't know personally that there's a workaround for that, you know. So sometimes those questions, that's why it made me like nervous about preservatives, but we're good. We got it. We're there. Okay, we're good now temp wise. I'm gonna add my liquid, my Germall Plus, liquid Germall Plus. Just double checking my amounts over there. So the amount for liquid Germall Plus is, I believe it's like 0.5 to 0.1, or 0.1 to 0.5, whatever that range equals out as. I like to do it as 0.7, so that gives me like kind of an in-between there. So if I over pour just a little bit, it's okay. If I under pour a little bit, it's also okay. I have added too much. Oh my god, if you have ever added too much preservative to a recipe, if you haven't, then bless your heart, like you are a fortunate favorite of the gods. when I first started using preservatives, I made a face wash that had preservative, and instead of doing 0.2%, I added it at 2%. Look, my skin almost peeled off my face. Like, it was so, like, it was rough. It stung so bad. So, like, make sure that you're using it with the correct usage rates, okay? All right. I'm going to take my little bottle right here. I'm going to tear it out. And I'm going to pour it in. So, it's easier to use a funnel. And it's easier to pour it when it's still warm. Trust me, I've tried to add it before when it was like, just even had cooled off just a little bit. And I deeply regretted that. It was not. Okay, so that is 8.2 in that little bottle. Of course, I only brought 3 bottles. I think this might make 4. Maybe make 3. We'll see. Oh yeah, it'll do maybe 2, maybe 2. Okay, I overpoured that, my bad. I was just got excited. Slow down, girl. Oh my God. Too much. Let's see. Okay, correct. And then if I did this last one, like, to sell, I would obviously either tweak my recipe. So, like, if I needed it to make 3 8.2 ounce bottles, I could tweak the recipe because the percentages are given. You can tweak the recipe to be the correct size that you need. Or I could just, you know, use a different bottle size if I needed to. But you'd always rather have a little bit too much than for it to be not enough. You know, like, you want your bottles to be full. Nobody is going to complain about how much you put in the bottles. If it says 8 ounces on the bottle and I fill it with 8.2 ounces, nobody's going to complain about that. However, if it's an 8 ounce bottle and I only fill it, if I only fill it to here because it's an 8 ounce bottle and I only put exactly 8 ounces in, even though it's technically correct and the customer's technically going to get exactly what 8 ounces, they might not, they're not going to be happy about that. So, and then the final, now you should let it cool off. As you can see, like, this one has condensation already building up on the side. You want to avoid that if you can, because obviously condensation is a liquid, which is moisture, which bacteria, and then it's a little Romeo and Juliet relationship with these things. So you want to try to, like, you know, avoid that if you can, but you let it cool off, and then once it's cool, you put the lids on it. I normally, like, just set the lid like that with the cap open. Boop. To let it cool off. And that's it. When you're done, you're going to have a beautiful lotion for your beautiful skin. You're going to go like that. You're going to like that. You're going to smell like blueberries, apricots, and fresh fruit slices. I'm not going to put that on me because it's still warm. And that's it. Guys, if you have any questions, ask them. I'm interested to see how it notifies me about questions, because normally for the page, Facebook doesn't notify me if comments are made. It only notifies me if comments are made on the lives in the group, which is kind of annoying. So yeah, I'm interested to see how it does notifications, and let me know how you guys like the multi-stream, if you prefer Mondays or Fridays, and if you want t-shirts or stickers. That's pretty much it. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Keep your eyes peeled if you bought the recipe for the fix. And if you haven't bought the recipe yet, just hang on to your horses for a couple more days while we get that sorted out, and we will have it ready for you so you can make the #best ever body butter and emulsified lotion recipe. It's a mouthful, but we did it. We're there. We got through it. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Happy making. Boop.